In this video, I want to spend a couple minutes talking about errors that are pretty common in this workflow. It doesn't mean that something is necessarily destroyed. It just means that you need to go back in and make some adjustments to satisfy what Mudbox is looking for. It also helps you clean up your mesh to really be ready for the game pipeline. So some of the errors you're going to see happening here are pretty common. And whether or not I've exported this as an FBX or OBJ, keeping in mind that you must keep that quad format, if I want to go ahead and do in Max or Maya, send to Mudbox, I can do this as well if my base mesh is ready. So I'm going to go to send to Mudbox, and I'm going to send this as a new scene. Bring over my Mudbox scene, and let's send it over to it. So the errors that you see here are actually pretty common. We've got non-manifold T-shape. This happens when you have an edge that has 1, 2, and 3 radiating polygons come off of it. Keep in mind, those face normals are really important here. So most applications don't like this. If you're doing 3D printing, for example, this definitely will not work. Non-manifold or vertex splice is another issue, where the vertex is welded to a situation where you've got one vertice with 4 radiating edges. Incomplete UV set could be a multitude of things. So what we need to do is go back into our application and fix this. A degenerated face is very common. I sometimes call them double faces, but what happens is it looks like everything is fine, but you actually have some hidden faces that could be falling or are squeezed into one edge, we'll say. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and see where our errors are. What you can do is keep all or keep this mesh, which means you're ignoring the problem and continuing. If you keep all, it's going to stop checking the meshes. So let's do keep this mesh. And what's nice about it, it's going to allow me to look at some of the errors. So I definitely have some problems here around the neck, and I have some problems here at the base. So let's try and find these over in our application. So the first thing I'm going to do, again, using Mudbox as my guide point, is I'm going to click on this edge here. And if I move it, I can see where the problem is. So here are some options or solutions for you to help you. You can double click, selecting that edge loop, and of course Control Alt or Control Delete and remove it. You can take it and do something called a slide edge tool. So under mesh tools, go to slide edge and middle mouse rotate it out. Or you can select all the vertices and you can do a merge. But you must do a merge on a very low tolerance. So whether you're welding or merging, depending on what application you're using, choose a very small tolerance, 0.001. And what that does is it only merges vertices that are right on top of another. Now when I move it, it looks okay. And if I go back into Mudbox, let's move this over. File, send to Mudbox. We're going to add a new scene. Now we only see 3 errors. Oh, we still see another one. So let's go back in there and take a look at it. So it's possible it could be here at the top. And don't be afraid to look at your mesh and really dissect it. You may have to rebuild it, which is not uncommon. And in this case, what I'm going to do is select the whole thing, and we're going to do that merge. And let's try it one more time. And now we just have the 3 errors. So we haven't taken a look at our UVs yet, but I have a pretty good idea where our non-manifold is lurking. So I'm going to hit cancel import. And this time I'm going to go into wireframe. So whether you do wireframe or x-ray, you can usually look to see if you have any issues. And there it is. If I go inside of the mesh, there's my culprit. Here's my face. It's inside. It's sharing that one edge. And because vertices are connected, that's where I'm getting my errors. So I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to double check just to make sure everything's okay here. And now I'm going to bring this back into Mudbox. So our last issue, of course, is our UV set. So I'm going to hit cancel import again. And let's take a look at our UVs. So right now it looks like there are no UVs. And this can sometimes happen. I'm not sure why, but when you're exporting as an OBJ or FBX, sometimes these UVs just go missing. If this happens, you may have to redo them. So what I'm going to do is just simply do a quick automatic mapping, just for the sake of this demo. And I'm going to go back into Mudbox. And now we're back in with no errors. So while this is just an example mesh, and I definitely would have some changes on it just to make sure your workflow is a little cleaner, it does show you some examples of areas that can be fixed with just some couple tweaks and touches to make sure that you're looking at those common errors that tend to pop up from time to time when going into Mudbox.